TAQ Capital, technical analysis quickly.
This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Before taking any action based on the information provided on this channel, it is recommended that you seek the advice of a professional licensed financial advisor.
Let's do this.
All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is TAQ Capital, where I give you technical analysis without the hype, FUD, and hopium, and I try to do it quickly. So let's dive right in. This is Ethereum and Bitcoin, because if you're in an altcoin like Ethereum, you got to be watching Bitcoin too. If you recall, the videos I put up yesterday are right here. BTC and Ethereum just doing a brief reset before more upside. What are the targets? Let's take a look. The other one is Adam waiting on Bitcoin to make a decision. Could be a great short opportunity if Bitcoin drops. This one doesn't really pertain to this video, but my point is we're watching Bitcoin. So here we are watching Bitcoin. I've said that we're going to hit this 21.2 mark for quite some time now. And we actually got up to, at the peak, 21.426. And we did it so much sooner than I thought we would. I mean, this was an incredible run from bottom to top is 15, almost 16%. So we actually got stopped out by this Fibonacci circle instead of up here with the Fib channel, which was 21, more like 21.2. This is a little bit higher. So I am blown away by the speed that it moved. But if you, let me jump to Bitcoin really quickly. If you've been following, you know we're in this blue channel. So we came down, hit here, came over, hit here, down, hit here, up, hit here, and then we were in this swoop up and out. So now the question becomes, where do we go from here? Well, do we redraw this wedge to where it's now more like this? If so, then that would indicate more upside to come, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll do a swoop like this, and then break up and out, because this is going down and this is going down. So we could have more upside, but there's going to have to be a brief reset, you know, based on Ichimoku Cloud right now. I would say coming down in the 20,000 range, maybe. Yeah, about 20,000. If that played out, it would take us to 22,861. But that's just one wedge. All that means is that at some point we're going to have to break out of this. That doesn't mean that there isn't more downside. The way that there could be more downside, at least in the short term, is that we're going to do this bounce blue and then back up here to the 22,832 mark, which would then give us a blue wedge that comes up like this. So it would look more like this when all said and done, where this is our fourth hit off the blue wedge. And now that this blue line is going up and this blue line is going down, we have a sideways broadening wedge, and it can either break up or down. And at that point, I think we would then break down. I don't think we would break up anymore. Because if you look at this white wedge that's forming, you know, we've got 1, 2, 3, so we would have 4, and then break up and out. But this fourth could be anywhere. This could be 8,000, 10,000. It could be anywhere much further down here. So the way that it would play out is 1, 2, 3, 4, swing down, up here to hit the white, and then come down to the white here, bottom out at the $8,000, $10,000 mark, then come back up and break up out of the white. So that would complete the blue and the white wedges. Then when you redraw the blue wedge, you have it intersect up here like this with the white wedge. So that would be the hit at that mark on the Fibonacci retracement tool from this latest run. So that would give us brief downside before more upside. And then we'd be able to break down and come down further. So the extra run up is a pretty freaking big run up if this is the way that it plays out. So briefly, let's look at the alternative. If this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, it has to go up. So then the only way to change that is that this is not actually 3. So if we drop this down further and we redraw it now, we're talking 1, 2, and this swoop up is just making its way down to 3. So then we'd have 3, and at some point, well, 3 could be 8,000, 10,000, it could be anywhere. It could be in line with the white wedge. Then when it comes back up, it's going to it'll break out of the white wedge, and then it's going to make contact with the blue for number 4, and then it bounce out and up, and it would still fit the bill. It's also possible that this stop doesn't happen until, higher up, somewhere up in here, and then we've got a sideways broadening wedge. But because the blue wedge is inside the white wedge governs. But there is a way for both the blue that exists currently and the white to play out, and that's the one I just showed you. So there's a definite possibility for some more upside. So you're going to want to watch what's going on here on Bitcoin on this blue wedge line. So the price marker for that is basically 21,000. I mean, because we're going to swoop down, I would say probably just somewhere around 20,000 and then come back up. And we could swoop lower because you got to remember we've got this white wedge that's in here. So let's zoom in on that for a second. Okay, this is on the 4-hour. We hit here, there, there, and now we theoretically should have a breakdown and out. And at that point, we may end up, making another run up here at this fib circle, and that's how we come up out of the blue. But lately, the sentiment in the market has been so bullish because so many people believe we've hit the bottom, even though I'm not one of them. Of course, it's possible. People are just diving in left, right, and like crazy. So we may actually kind of do this, even exit the side of this white wedge and not come down like this. So, from there we could go back up for another attempt. I mean, usually it is a swing up. I mean, you've got the Ichimoku cloud telling us that we should be coming down to the Kijin. I mean, this is the 4-hour, but if we jump up to different time frames, 5-hour, the Kijin's still low. I mean, here we're at just under 20,000, or right at 20,000. On the Kijin, on the 6-hour, 7-hour, similar, 8-hour. I mean, these are still right on top of each other. So we need this to lay down flat, and then the Tenkin to start kind of separating and giving us the mouth to pull the candles down into it. But as the day unfolds, that'll tell us more. But right now, I don't know, and I would err on the side of caution if you were thinking about shorting, even though so many signs right now are pointing to shorting. I mean, like I said, the 6-hour here, you've got the Kijin. This is a dead giveaway. And in just a normal time, plus you've got the resistance up here of the fib circle. So it's very believable that we're coming down. But with what we've had going on lately, it's crazy. And I don't necessarily believe that to where I'm that comfortable in a short right now. The plus, when you add in the fact that there is a way for the blue wedge and the white wedge to play out perfectly, and it would take us up to this blue fib circle here, just swoop, boom, bounce off of there, and then come crashing back down. That is extremely possible. So I would be very much aware of this 21,000 price range. And if we break that, be ready to head up to 22,832. And whatever altcoin you're in, you need to be watching Bitcoin in split screen. Otherwise, you're going to be potentially taken off guard. I mean, Ethereum here, like when Bitcoin was making its runs, Ethereum took off with it. It's not that it was outlandish for Ethereum. There have been some coins where you just don't see it coming at all. Bitcoin moves and then boom, you're up. But I mean, here we've got a perfect wedge over here on Ethereum. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we should have been down and out, but we weren't. We've come down to here, and now we're actually in this upward broadening yellow wedge. So we've now got 1, 2, 3, and we should have 4, and out of the yellow, and then down and out of the teal. But will we? I mean, if Bitcoin retraces here and goes up the blue, then it'll fit nicely with what we would be doing with Ethereum. But who knows? We'll see how it plays out. To jump into Ethereum here for a moment, you can see that we're in this pink wedge. And we're now working on our way. Oh, it came up a little bit more. I got to adjust it. Where the pink wedge is inside this orange wedge, which is inside this blue wedge. So let me zoom out. So the blue wedge is going like this. And now it's coming up towards the next hit, which it may have just gotten. I would just need to drag this blue line down. And then it will be heading down to what I think is going to be the hundreds. So 600 to 400, somewhere in there, when Bitcoin goes down to 8,000 to 10,000. And so now we're just wondering how much higher are we going from here? Well, what's the orange wedge telling us? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, which is usually a swing down and up, which is kind of telling us then we might have more upside. If we have more upside, where will it take us to? Well, the Fibonacci retracement tool here told us after our first run that went from here to there, let's try that again, here to there, that we were going to be going up to 1742, and we just hit 1748. So that was pretty perfect. See, I originally thought this was the top, and I got the 1720 number. Then I started thinking, holy crap, is this the top of the first run? Now that's a weird first run, but crazier things have happened, and that's where I got the 1849 number from, which was over here. Anyway, so it came down here. Let me back this up. This was your first run to there. This was retracement. This was your second run, which hit that number there. So now we're going to have some version of retracement, theoretically. It should break below this line, as that's normal, often splitting the difference between this bottom line here and this line here. Doesn't always work out that way. So somewhere in, it's going to retrace somewhere in here, and once it gets to that bottom, it will either then go back up to this 1907 mark, or it will break out of the pink here, get a tiny little reset. We will drop the pink line down to run from here through this spot, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the new spot, then break down and out. So it's possible we're going to head up to 1907 as well, which plays hand in hand with the blue wedge and the white wedge on Bitcoin going for a small retracement before we go back up for some more upside. It's also possible that this orange wedge just sits here. This was the peak, and we come down because this is now going up and this is going down, so it can break either direction. So then this just comes down and we start heading towards our fourth hit on the lower blue line, which would look like this. 1, 2, up to here, which is currently where we're at, 3, and then down here, 4, and then break up and out. And if that's the case, your blue wedge would look like this, with our first hit, our second hit, our third hit where we currently are, our fourth hit here, or somewhere in there, and then we come back out of the blue wedge here, which would complete the blue wedge. It would also, as the orange wedge would continue, and this one would continue, it would complete the orange wedge down, break out, and then up. And then if you redrew the orange wedge to run a long line of this blue, you would have the first hit, second hit, this would be your third hit on the orange, and then you would break up out of the orange up here. So it would still hold true. So the orange is either now or way later. And because of the blue and white wedges playing out in Bitcoin, it could certainly be now. We could have some more upside. And then if you just look at the overall sentiment in the market, it's very bullish. Because I mean, look at this. Bitcoin is way, way overextended. Yet still, we've got this little candle forming on the 6 hour that's 0.24%. But people are still unwilling to accept this run as being over. And if they don't accept it, obviously it's not over, and it'll just continue to go. I mean, I think there's going to have to be a retracement, whether it looks like this or this is going to have to be something where it's going to come down, and then it's going to break back out before we head up to that 22.8 mark, if that's what we end up doing. So I'll put updates on Instagram, and obviously I'll be doing more YouTube videos as this unfolds, but I don't often come back on to update on YouTube throughout the day just because of the amount of work it takes to put the videos together. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to hear my take on how this is unfolding. So for now on Bitcoin, watch this fib circle. Be mindful of the $21,000 mark if we break down and come back up, because if we come down here, we could ride the circle down, find support at this fib channel, bounce off the fib channel, go up to the next circle, maybe even ride that down before we go back up, and then this will be our ultimate rejection where we come back down. Something to that effect. But it also could be a complete nosedive down the other direction. So, I mean, if you have alerts set, I've got a bunch of alerts here triggered around this price range, and then I'm going to set some alerts to trigger me up here just so I'm aware of once we've broken it, because I can't stare at my phone 24/7, 365. As for Ethereum, honestly, as ridiculous as it sounds, watch Bitcoin, because it's going to matter what Bitcoin does. Ethereum is now working its way down towards the red Kijin, the red line here, which is 1619. And then, you could have some more upside and breaking out of the blue wedge here. Sorry, not the blue. The blue is not formed yet. We're waiting on the fourth hit down here, but breaking out of the orange. So up like that, which will take us to the next highest level, 1907, which will then have us draw our blue line going through there, which will then give us 1, 2, 3, and down. So you want to be mindful of breaking past really its current level. I mean, if it comes down to 1619, you're going to want to see if we're going up or again, or are we going down for some more downside. And like I said, I'll update that on Instagram. But that's it for me today, guys. I can drag this out forever staring at these charts. I can lose myself in them. And I don't want to do that to you. I try to keep these things short, and I failed miserably today. So thanks for staying with me and checking all this out. And if you find it helpful, like, share, and subscribe. And be mindful of my other socials if you want updates throughout the day. But that's it. I will talk to you later. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video.